Welcome to my sewing room. We have such an exciting show for you today. We're going to teach you how to smock by hand and how to use the pleating machine. Those are two things people ask me about all the time. Now, what does smocking by hand look like? Well, I have a little doll dress here, and this is smocking by hand, which is what I'm going to show you how to do today. And you'll see those little pleats in there. I'm going to show you how to run those pleats in with what we call a smocking machine. Now, for some of you that really don't do anything by hand, a little bit later in the series, we're going to share a little segment with you on how to smock by machine. This one was smocked on the sewing machine, believe it or not. But today is going to be the smocking by hand day. Now, this beautiful dress is from Silk Ribbon Treasures. And as you can see, we have smocking, geometric smocking, and the reason it's called Silk Ribbon Treasures is because they're little silk ribbon stitches that have been stitched on in between the smocking stitches. And you see those pleats that go all the way across there? I'm going to show you the little machine that puts those pleats in, which makes it very easy to smock. The Easy Elegance Blouse. This is a smock strip which has been stitched right down the front. In other words, you do your smocking, stitch it down to the blouse, and then just put some braid that goes all the way down the blouse. That's a real interesting way of smocking for ladies. The little Jack and Jill knickers, it has smocking on the front. This is smocking by hand. We have an adorable little Jack and Jill dress, which has tiny tennis shoes smocked on it. A real casual look for little girls, and of course those little tennis shoes would be just as cute for little boys. But we're going to show you how to do the geometric smocking. This beautiful New Zealand blouse has smocked insets also. And as you can see, smocking doesn't have to have a lot of fabric in it. You can just have a smocked inset like on this New Zealand blouse. And now, if you'll come with me, I'll share with you the first step, which is how to do the pleating. Using the pleater is really very easy. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you how to pleat is an inset. You see, it's pretty narrow. And also, you can pleat where you pleat not only the inset, but the whole skirt. All right, first of all, this is what a smocking machine or a pleater looks like. I'm going to usually use quilting thread because it's strong and it doesn't break, and I surely don't want my threads to break before I finish my hand smocking. Now, the principle of the smocking machine is just sort of like an old-fashioned wringer. You turn this spool over here and these three rods just turn. Let me show you how it works. First of all, I've threaded up all my spools down here. I'm going to thread one of these needles for you. Hope I can see to thread it. Yes, I did. I have it threaded. I'm just going to leave a little short tail. Now then, I'm going to wrap my fabric around this dowel stick right here. Just roll the whole thing down, my unfinished fabric, and I'm going to slip it in here. And I'm going to lean over to line it up on one of the needles that is not threaded. Now, normally, ladies and gentlemen, I stand up to do this so I can see exactly where it's coming through, but for the purposes of right here, I'm going to just kind of have to look over it. Now, I'm turning this little knob over here on the end, and I'm lining it up right here. And if I were standing up, I'd be able to see that perfectly. And this is not going to be perfect, but you can see we're getting perfect pleats. All right, after I get some pleats onto the needles, I simply take my fingers and slip them off. Now, how do I keep it completely straight? I want you to watch the motion I'm making with my hand. I rub it just a little bit as we go through the rods, through the smocking machine. I pull it out this way just a little bit. Okay, let's run a few more pleats right across here. This makes just perfect pleats every time. This is the Dr. Joe pleater, named after my husband Joe. And look, I'm going to slip it off like this. Can you see what I'm doing? And we have perfect pleats every time, and I have the pleats. This takes most of the work out of smocking, well, actually out of pleating, to have one of these pleaters. The old-fashioned way was to iron on dots and pull up every one of these pleats by hand, and I certainly would not want to smock doing that. As a matter of fact, I've never done that, and I actually don't intend to. Now then, after you get all of your pleat, your inset, run through here, your fabric inset, run through here. Can you see we have perfect pleats? And now then, with those lines in there, I'm ready to begin my smocking. And that is all there is to running the pleater or the smocking machine. Next, I'm going to share with you the cat in the courthouse story, which I've told all over the world for 20 years now to make smocking, where to throw the thread on the smocking, easy. So I've got a funny story to share with you. I've been teaching smocking for over 20 years now, and this story that I made up a long time ago has made smocking easy for so many people. Now listen to my story and I'll explain it a little bit later when I'm teaching the smocking. Pretend that there is a cat, and the cat is going to climb up the courthouse stairs, which are very steep. Okay, when the cat climbs up the courthouse stairs, where is the cat's tail? It's down. When the cat climbs up, the tail hangs down. The cat gets to the top of the stairs, has to turn around, so what happens to the tail? It goes up, doesn't it? All right, now then the cat's coming down the courthouse stairs. Where is the cat's tail? It's up. Then when the cat gets all the way to the bottom of the courthouse stairs and has to turn around, where is the cat's tail? It's on the bottom. Now that cat in the courthouse story one more time. Cat climbs up the stairs. Where is the cat's tail? It's down. Cat gets to the top, has to turn around. Where is its tail? It goes to the top. All right, cat climbs down the courthouse stairs. Where is the cat's tail when it's climbing down? It's up. Cat gets to the bottom of the courthouse stairs, has to turn around again to go back up. Where is the tail? It's on the bottom. That little story will be invaluable as you learn how to do smocking stitches, which go up and down, knowing where to throw the thread of your floss, which will be, I'll talk about the cat's tail, that means the thread of the floss. Now then, come on over to the boards with me, and I'm going to show you how to smock. The first stitch I'm going to share with you is the cable stitch. That's the first one I always teach when I'm teaching smocking classes. Let's look at what the cable stitch looks like. It has a top cable, a bottom cable, a top cable, a bottom cable, a top cable, a bottom cable. Now, this is the real piece of fabric right here where it has been stitched, and that's what it really looks like on real fabric. You can see there's my orange line that I ran through in the pleater, my orange quilting thread, my blue quilting thread, and I work right along those lines of the pleating that I made with quilting thread. Now, to make it easier for you to see, I have a large piece to demonstrate the stitch. Now, remember we talked about the cat and the courthouse? When the cat was at the bottom of the courthouse, the tail was at the bottom. When the cat was at the top of the courthouse, the tail was at the top. The same principle holds true for the cable stitch. All right, now then, I'm going to take my first stitch. I take one pleat at a time. By the way, I use 3 strands of embroidery floss for most smocking. All right, I run my needle straight along the gathering row and I pull it for a bottom cable. My thread was at the bottom. Now for a top cable, I put my thread at the top. Remember the cat turning around on the courthouse? All right, now that I'm going to take my needle through one pleat at a time. It's very important to let your needle go straight across the row that you ran in with your pleating machine. I'll pull it down and I will then mash my threads together. All right, I'm going to make a bottom cable now. So where is my thread? That's right, it is at the bottom. And then I pull it up and then take your needle and push them together. Now I'm going to make a top cable. So where is my thread? It is on the top. Okay, top cable, bottom cable with the thread on the bottom. Here's how it goes. Top cable, thread at the top, bottom cable, thread on the bottom. And this is how you make your cable stitch. You just go all the way along the row. I'm doing a bottom cable so my thread is below my needle. I'm doing a top cable so my thread is above my needle. Now that is the cable stitch. The next stitch I'm going to show you how to do is a wave stitch, a chevron stitch, or a baby wave. It's called all those things, a baby wave or a chevron. Now then, let me show you what it looks like. I have a bottom cable, and then I go up, and there's a top cable, and I come down. In other words, I'm going to go either a half a space or a whole space, but let me show you how this one goes. Now, when you see it done on a real piece of smocked fabric, done with 3 strands of embroidery floss, this is what it looks like. This cable is where I went from row to row. This cable is shorter. I went from row to half space, row to half space. Now this one is a really easy stitch to make, and I'm going to get my bigger sample over here so I can show it to you much more clearly. Now this is very easy to do, but I'm going to show you what it's called, a one-step wave. All right, here I've got a bottom cable on the smocking or the pleating line. The cat is going up the courthouse stairs, so where is the tail going to be? The tail is going to be hanging down because I'm going up the courthouse stairs. I go to the next line, I make a stitch, I pull it. Now then, the cat has to turn around at the top of the courthouse stairs. So do you remember where the tail was when we're at the top? The tail is at the top. I leave the tail at the top and I make another stitch at that same line and I pull it. And then, now the cat is getting ready to go down the courthouse stairs. So when the cat's going down, where is the thread? I pull it up. So I come down and I make a stitch on the next pleat, and the cat is ready to turn around at the bottom of the stairs. So where is my thread? It is below the line, and I make another stitch right at the exact same place on the pleating line. Okay, let's do it again. The cat is traveling up the courthouse stairs, so where is the tail? It is down, because the cat travels up the courthouse stairs, and I make a stitch on that line. Now the cat is at the top of the courthouse stairs, has to turn around at the top, so my thread is at the top and I make another stitch exactly at that same place for my turnaround stitch. Now the cat is going to travel down, so what do? The tail is up when I travel down, and so I'm coming down to the next line of pleating, and I make a stitch there. Now the cat has to turn around at the bottom, that's your clue, so the thread is below, and I make one more stitch exactly on that same pleating line. This is a one-step wave or a baby wave or a chevron. Now we're going up and down now with those stitches, so let's see how you make 2 or 3 or 4 step waves. All right, this one is a 3-step wave. All right, I have a turnaround stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches with the cat traveling up, and then a turnaround stitch at the bottom, and then 1, 2, 3 stitches and then a turnaround. And by the way, that is called a 3-step wave, although you do not count the top turnaround and the bottom turnaround, just 3 steps in between. Here is what a 3-step wave looks like on a regular piece of pleated fabric. You've got your turnaround, 1, 2, 3, turnaround at the top, 1, 2, 3, turnaround at the bottom. Now to make it easier for you to see, I have a really big piece of fabric here for you to see. This time I'm going to show you how to do a 1, 2, 3, 4-step wave. Okay, I've got my turnaround at the top. The cat is coming down the courthouse stairs, so where do I put my thread? Up, because the tail is up. All right, I'm going to take 1 stitch. I'm going to make a 4-step wave. There's 1. Now remember, when the cat's coming down, the tail has to go back up again. I'm going to make another stitch right in the middle. That's 2. Then the cat is still coming down, so I put the thread up again. So I make the 3rd stitch, 1, 2, 3. And the cat is still coming down, so I come down and right at the line, at the gathering line that I made with my pleating machine, I make the 4th stitch. Now the cat came down 4 times, now I have to turn around. Do you remember what happened at the bottom of the stairs when the cat turned around? The tail is at the bottom for a bottom cable. All right, so I've got the thread on the bottom because the cat is at the bottom. I turn around. Now let's do that 4-step wave again. All right, now remember, the cat's going up the courthouse stairs this time, so where is the tail going to be? Down. I make the 1st stitch halfway in between. There's 1. The cat is still going up, so I pull the thread down. 2. The cat is still going up, so I pull the thread down again. 3. And my 4th stitch is the cat's still going up because I'm making a 4-step wave. My 4th stitch is right on the pleating line, 4. Once again, the cat has got to turn around in order to come down. So the cat is at the top, so the tail turns around at the top, and I make 1 more stitch exactly there on that pleating line and get ready to turn down. Okay, let's go down pretty quickly. All right, here we go. 1, the cat is coming down, so the tail goes up. 2, the cat is coming down, so the tail goes up. 3, the cat is coming down, so the tail goes up. 4, that's my 4th stitch. The cat is coming down. Now, I've got to do my bottom cable. I've made my 4 stitches. I turn around at the bottom, so my thread is at the bottom because the cat's tail turns around at the bottom of the courthouse stairs, and that is really how simple it is to do smocking. You've learned the 3 basic stitches of smocking. Most smocking is all about those stitches. There are some more, but those are the basics. Now, won't you join me as I share with you a home decorating project? For those of you that have round tables, you are going to love this sort of pie-shaped placemat. As you can see, this has the perfect shape to fit on a round table. We've used a linen cotton blend, a beautiful little machine embroidery, and then around the edges there is a triple straight stretch stitch with a wing needle for embellishment. Very easy to make. You can make 4 of these for a wedding gift or a Christmas gift, or for that matter for your own table, so easily. Now let's just see how this is made. First of all, you cut your shapes, pin them together, stitch all the way around, just leaving a little opening. Then turn it right side out as I have done here. And of course, after you turn it, you're going to press it very, very, very carefully all the way around. And I'm going to stitch up that little opening that I made with a little bit of hand stitching. Now, on linen blend, you probably do not have to use a stabilizer, but I'll have to be honest with you, I use a stabilizer nearly every time I use a wing needle. Now then, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use my presser foot as a guide. And I'm going to do a triple wing needle stretch straight stitch. Boy, that's a mouthful, isn't it? And I probably am going to use a contrasting color, whatever color machine embroidery I use. I'm going to put that color thread in. And we're just going to make a really good looking decorative trim all the way around the edge with a wing needle and a triple straight stitch. And that is a beautiful stitch to do any kind of hemming with. I'll come here and I will turn the corner, and this absolutely adorable placemat will be finished just that quickly. So you see, we like to do fun, beautiful, and quick things. And next, I have a really, really pretty quilt square to share with you. This beautiful crazy patch square on the Blue Danube quilt is one of my very favorites. Let me just show you all the details. Here we have the little machine embroidery that's on either side. The crazy patch is done with ribbons, which is a really interesting and really easy way to do crazy patch, just polyester ribbons. Then there is a lace-shaped diamond around the crazy patch ribbons. Now, crazy patch is one of my favorite techniques in the whole world, and I will tell you how easy it is to do, especially when you're using ribbons. But the first thing we're going to do is shape the laces, and you know that's one of my favorite things in the whole world to do too. So we've got to make our lace shape first, so I trace off my diamond on a piece of fabric. Now then, I've already shaped part of this diamond. Let me come over here. I put a pin on, to make a miter, I put a pin on the outside, a pin on the inside. Then I fold my lace back on itself, remove the inside pin to be sure that it catches both pieces of lace, and then I'm going to bring it down and a perfect miter folds in. Now let me show you what we do to finish off the bottom of this lace diamond. All right, I will put a pin at the top, and I will turn my lace back underneath itself, and a perfect miter folds in. I will put a pin here, I will chop off the tails, and then after, I'll use glass head pins for a really important reason. I have to iron. I have to press this, and maybe a little bit of spray starch, but then I'm going to press this to be sure that it's kind of glued. When you put a little spray starch in a press, and I'm going to chop off the tails of the lace, and then I'm going to use a wing needle entredot stitch and stitch the outside only of this lace to my fabric. Now, as you can see, I have a tearaway stabilizer underneath here, because when I do wing needle entredot stitching to lace to batiste, I always use a tearaway stabilizer. Now then, I have my machine set up on the wing needle entredot stitch. I have my lace shape here. I have my tearaway stabilizer. And this wing needle entredot stitch is so very, very beautiful, and a lot of machines do have this stitch built in that you can use with a wing needle. If your machine does not, you can just simply zigzag your lace down. Now you see how pretty it is to have the wing needle entredot stitch. All right, after I have done my wing needle entredot stitch, I am then going to cut away the inside of my fabric, and I will have my lace shape, which looks like this. Now remember, we've got to put that ribbon crazy patch. We have to start it next. I start off with one piece in the middle, and this is just ribbon. I chop it off and make it four-sided, and then I take another piece of ribbon, simply lay it down on one of the sides and zigzag it down from this side of the ribbon to this side of the ribbon. Now the good thing about ribbons is that you do not have to turn it under and then flip it, because the edges are finished. Next, I will take, you see I have piece 1, you saw the pink piece, which was piece 2. I just lay another piece down, piece 3 and zigzag, piece 4 and zigzag, piece 5 and zigzag, and I'm going to continue zigzagging these pieces until I have a full diamond full of the crazy patched ribbon. Then when I have a big piece of crazy patched ribbon, I will take that piece of ribbon, I will put my lace diamond back on top of it, and then, ladies and gentlemen, I will just zigzag the lace diamond to this. You cannot wing needle entredot successfully through all of these layers of polyester ribbon. So I will just zigzag my lace diamond on the inside only to my crazy patch, and then of course I will go in here. After I zigzag it, I will go in here and I will trim it away. And there you have your crazy patch diamond. Won't you come along to my attic with me? Up until really recent times, all ladies had bed jackets. In the Victorian times, they were especially popular, and this exquisite bed jacket, which I purchased at the Paris flea market, is just a wonderful example of how beautiful the details were on these bed jackets. As you can see, there's curved lace which goes down the front. There's a wonderful French lace motif, and it's so cute the way this is put together to actually make it into a jacket. There is a little beautifully done buttonhole right here on the side, and there's a buttonhole on the back on the side. And then ribbon is run through that buttonhole and tied, and it makes a little sleeve for this bed jacket. And look at the pretty way it comes down in the front and curves around with this exquisitely beautiful wide French lace. What a beautiful example of an elegant bed jacket. For my Sewing from the Heart today, I have a letter from Denise Kerrigan from upstate New York. She writes, "Dear Martha, my Sewing from the Heart is a cute one. My 2 daughters, age 6 and 9.5, are in our local 4-H chapter called the Durham Dynamites. I am in charge of teaching all of these kids, 26 of them, sewing. I decided to do a project sewing really cute and funny looking adorable fleece hats. I made up a bunch of samples and brought them to school to see if the kids would like them. Needless to say, the teachers and the kids went crazy. One hat is in the shape of a dinosaur. My daughter's kindergarten class was studying dinosaurs and did a dinosaur play. Every year, the teacher likes to give them a gift that coincides with the theme. When she saw this dinosaur hat, she went crazy and asked me to make enough for the whole class. My 4-H kids came to the rescue. One Saturday afternoon, 6 of the older girls came over, cut and sewed, and made hats for all the class. The children loved them, and my 4-H girls loved making them. The best part is that we live in a very rural part of upstate New York, where many families do not have much money. Many children either wear hand-me-downs or go without. The kids were so excited to have their own hat. Thanks for letting me share this story with you, Denise Kerrigan." Thanks so much for joining me in my sewing room today, and I'd like to invite you back next time.